nice and sensible. Oh, a big slip out, back end slide there from Toyota. Some short cutting as well as they come up and over the rise. Thankfully, they've all got through there safely, and away we go. Big right-hander swooping. This is like they scoop them up and send them off the end of a ski jump. We are running, we are safe, and it's the first straight, Sam Hancock.
Yeah, and Sebastian Buemi in the number 8 Toyota had a little cheeky look up the inside of sister car pole sitter Mike Conway into turn 1. That, unfortunately for Buemi, gave Conway the inside line into 2. It is Conway who leads us out onto the Mulsanne straight for the first time, Mark.
Yeah, we noticed the car that went off at the chicane was Tom Dillman in the bike Hollis. He did exactly the same thing in the warm-up this morning. Brake problems. I hope that's not going to come back and bite them.
All classes, and it's as you can see, it's Aston Martin leading at the moment, being harried and hassled. Look at this, all the way down the back straight, and it's the Ford car, of course, the Chip Ganassi machine. Oh, all over the place.
Yeah, 2 Fords side by side in the background there, as we've got the leading car. Oh, it's out on the toe there, side by side into the braking zone.
Shut, and it's Nicky Tim, indeed, who's setting the time at the moment. It's his tempo, and everyone else is dancing to that. Brilliant lockdown there as far as the pros are concerned, and it's less sensible indeed in the P2 spot.
LMP2 Mathieu Vazavier from Nick Lapierre and Davidson in 3rd place for Dragon Speed. They're all chopping and changing, bumping and boring, Sam.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of pressure here from Harry Tincknell on Nicky Team in the leading Aston Martin at the moment. Tincknell got a very, very slippery 4GT. It's very efficient through the air, perhaps a little bit down on power to the Aston Martin up front, and this is where the drive. Do they drive flat out, take as much curve as they possibly can to maximise their exit speeds, or do they minimise risk and impact on their car, playing the long game and just back away from the curves?
It's almost like a NASCAR train here, as you can see. Effect everywhere. Corvette Racing with Antonio Garcia keeping it sensible. He's just tucked in at the moment, giving himself some closing room as well. What can he do when he lays it on as they come out of the corner here? Aston Martin still with a big pickup, and this is terrific. Harry Tincknell, not as close as he has been prior, came out of the slipstream as soon as he hit the wind. Back he went as well and tries again, and this is Garcia coming round for the move. He's going to make it stick as well, I think, and just trapped with a locked door in front of him is Harry Tincknell here, and he's made it through.
And that's a relief for Nicky Team up front as Harry Tincknell comes under pressure from the Corvette of Garcia on the run. He's going down into Indianapolis. That gives Tincknell the inside line for the tight left that follows the sweeping right into Indianapolis. They've now got to hold on the anchors down to first gear for very slippery Arnage corner.
Nick Tandy's in the frame as well, as you can see in the white car, just settled in behind. This is magnificent. Side by side they come. They're using all parts of the track and some that they shouldn't as well. There'll be some warnings come out later, I feel sure. There we are. 35 has made its move official. It's all noted here. BMW as well, just almost looking on as spectators at the moment. That'll change as this game becomes longer, but Aston Martin Racing look magnificent, and more than that, best form of attack is defence sometimes, I think you can say, and we saw that writ large right then. Here we go.
Well, look at those Toyotas. They are pulling out a massive gap already. 3.4 seconds. Conway has over his teammate Buemi. Buemi's got 5 seconds over Gustavo Menez is now in the rebellion. And this is going to be the story of the race, Sam. It's a sprint race every single lap.
It really is, and Mike Conway's first lap time is an indicator of that, despite the rolling start with a slower slingshot onto the start-finish straight. Cool tyre pressures. He's already recorded a 3:22, which makes for a very strong pace in the race already.
Well, the AM-Class just rolling by us at the moment. More than that, just powering through. Proton Racing just waiting to see how they're stacking up as far as the AM-Class is concerned. This is your GT Pros as they came across the line. Absolutely wonderful. A little bit further down the order, of course, overall, but very much with their own race, and fascinating as well as we ride on with the 93, Sam.
Yeah, this is got on board with Nick Tandy. We were on board with Britain. Nick Tandy, of course, a former winner outright here at Le Mans with a prototype Porsche, then in a GTE Porsche today, and he's just sitting behind the leading battle, isn't he? Watching, waiting, ready to pounce, hoping that the guys up front trip over each other to give him a gap.
Harrying and hairy, lots of back ends just twitching out here, just about getting up to temperature, but the pace is phenomenal. Conway at the moment in the 7 Toyota, just best sector through sector 1. You'd expect that, of course. He's chasing down his own time of 3:22, but it seems that race pace is not that different from qualifying, and they're still having a look all over the place here.
Yes, the GT cars all squabbling over each other into the braking zone, down into the first chicane.
Nice move by Pierre Guidi in the air. Of course, a 51 car takes the spot, plenty more. And look at the way that the lights are flaring here. That's an indication of just how dark it is. And clouds are darkening. We've got a storm kicked up here, Mark.
Yeah, a storm on the track as well. And here we go. There is Lance Vanthoor, who'll be taking over the car that's leading the World Championship. That is the Porsche of Kevin Estre and Michael Christensen.
Double yellow
look at this.
6.
Out comes the Porsche and tries to go inside Ollie Pla. Ollie Pla shuts the door big time on him.
We got a yellow flag out of Tetra Rouge.
It's a double
Yellow flag. That means somebody has spun and will be stationary. We haven't got any pictures of it yet. We don't know who it is or where they have ended up.
Removed. No race pace change now that they've factored through that area. Hard to impose as well. Right at the top of the race, 23 hours and 53 minutes of this one remaining. That's a long old time, but for some, I think they probably aged at the very start here, Mark.
Yeah, change of position. Mathieu Jaminet managed to get past Ollie Pla. Martin Tomczyk now in the BMW climbing all over him as well. Every manufacturer wants to be here. Every manufacturer is here. And they're putting on such a show.
Yeah, we saw Bruni under a bit of pressure just a minute ago as the Corvette and Ford go side by side. Again, this is that run down to Indianapolis where the sweeping right-hander precedes a tight, heavily cambered left-hander. Lots of room for side-by-side racing.
That was Garcia taking the spot, by the way, just sailing through in that battle for P2 behind the Aston Martin. And now, of course, Garcia's got Nicky Tim in his sights. And look at the pull away here. The Ford are down on power, it seems, and just being left behind on the straights here. The Corvette has the rumble. And just check this out. It's now starting to make inroads into Nicky Tim just out in front. Nervous times for everybody.
Yeah, he's got within a second of the race of the class leader now. That Corvette is on a mission, Antonio Garcia.
Yeah, given Nicky Tim's cushion, which isn't big, but it's better than it was, I wonder if he just didn't quite have his tyres up to pressure. Aston Martin perhaps just taking a lap longer than the others to reach the peak operating windows. I look up at the time screens at the front and see an extraordinary 3:17.9 from Mike Conway on that last lap as he heads into the middle of Sector 2.
Remember, this was pole 3:15. Mike Conway's on new tyres and full tanks, and he's putting in 3:17.
Yeah, well, it's an ominous pace to be starting the beginning of the 24 hours.
Struggle with to balance the 8 car, did they not? Before we came, Sebastian Buemi at the moment is trailing by 4.7 seconds from the sister car that's out front for the time being.
You can't even see him.
Exactly. It's like he's. It almost looks like Sebastian Buemi's actually leading here, but he isn't. Conway has just clean gone at the moment. Surely cannot last for another 23 or so hours. This is magnificent stuff by them. Meanwhile, the rest of the P1 field are duking it out with Rebellion Racing and Menezes heading SMP at the moment. Both of the SMP cars in a double-decker sandwich, I think you might say, with Bruno Senna just chasing hard in 6th place. Then comes Dragon Speed by Collins Racing as well, just rounding out your LMP2s. Not much of a gap, P1s I should say, not much of a gap back to the P2s who've got their own war raging as we speak.
Yeah, and the blue SMP racing cars that we're looking at right now in the Rebellion sandwich, remember, they have been recording the fastest overall top speeds of anybody throughout practice. They carry the speed advantage. However, Rebellion do have an uprated Gibson V8 that is producing 38 or so more brake horsepower than the similar engine in the Dragon Speed and by Collis team cars. They do have a lot of grunt in those Rebellion cars, but they've blown 2 engines up in practice, and reliability remains a great concern for the Anglo-Swiss team.
Mark, will they last? They changed the engines after blowing in qualifying. They've only had 45 minutes on the new units. Can they make the distance?
Gibson's John Manchester tells us yes, they've identified what the problem was. They were trying a little Evo tweak on one of the V8s. They've forgotten that now. They've gone back to how they were. But he is quite sure they can last the distance.
Magnificent on board for you, Sam. Let's hope it sticks.
Yeah, here we are. Here we were riding on board. I'm just going to say, now we're on to sort of lap 3. This is where the drivers can finally settle in. Well, just as I say that, the Porsches go head-to-head. This is who we're at the wheel with. Tandy under pressure from Kevin Estre. And you get a nice view of that celebratory Brumos livery carried by Tandy's 93 car up ahead. The Porsche guys are free to race against each other car to car, but they are also officially at least very respectful of each other, so I don't expect the action to get too close.
Yeah, let's just be clear, those American white Porsches are not in the World Championship. They are here just for Le Mans.
Absolutely, and in the background we've got Ferrari against Ford. I think that was Bruni, I couldn't quite see, having a little cheeky look up the inside.
Maxi Martin under all sorts of pressure in the 97 Aston Martin, a little bit further back. Ollie Gavin as well is making trying to make inroads after getting himself past what apparently slower cars. The Corvettes seem to be absolutely dialed in. Sam, will anyone be running light on fuel at the top here just to get out of sequence as far as the stops are concerned, giving them an extra advantage?
Highly unlikely. In fact, you know, they really are going to be shooting for 14 laps if they can make it. Remember, last year, a rule change made a 14-lap requirement mandatory between pit stops for the GT cars. That is not in place this year. They can go as far as they are able.
Well, nicely spaced out, as you can see, but that's not going to last. The battles will now start to take place in different parts of the track. But frankly, what a start we have had. Mark, it was amazingly dramatic from the very off.
Yeah, I mean, Toyota were always going to get off the line first. They've got the four-wheel drive. They've got the huge 1,000 horsepower. They've charged those engines up. But a little look by Rebellion there, try and get by Sam as they go up into the Ford chicane.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about. You know, the non-hybrid LMP1 cars do have a huge amount of straight line speed at the top end compared to the Toyotas, whose hybrid assistance runs out of punch once they're about halfway down each of the respective straights. Toyota, therefore, having to get their elbows out at the start, particularly Conway, who was under pressure from Buemi. As we see further back, I think that was one of the United Autosports LMP2 cars running a little wide around the outside of 1.
Well, yeah, some of them shortchanging the course designers here and taking their own routes through, but that was up and over the top, and as you'd expect. To be honest, I thought that Toyota Gazoo Racing may well be caught, but everyone else had got a handful of everyone else. They were too busy dealing with keeping their cars on the track to being in a pouncing position, and of course the Toyotas, as soon as we got to the more technical part of the track, they were away.
Well, this is now, then we're back to Mike Conway now, who's built up that massive lead. And Mike is really looking so good here this afternoon at Le Mans. It's a race he wants to win. He's desperate to win it, and he's going to win it, he says.
Just look at the pace of Conway through these curves. He's just fastest in the second sector. He's got nobody in front of him. This is an absolute privilege. There's no traffic there. And now that the car is up to temperature, this is where he's going to start going on full attack. 3:17.425 is his last run through. It's the privilege of being on pole, is that you have a free rein, if you like, if you're quick to have a go.
Yeah, look, Tandy looking very ambitious, isn't he? Tandy filling the rear view mirror of Kevin Estre in the 92 Porsche as they come into the braking zone at the chicane. He's just sat in that slipstream, and I wonder if he's playing the long game or if he's trying to pressure Estre into a little bit of a mistake.
Oh, this is magnificent. New fastest lap, by the way, at 3:17.297 for Mike Conway, who is just playing with the field at the moment. It's a game that he mustn't push too hard, but frankly, he's got a 6.7 second advantage at the moment. And for some drivers, their best rhythm is their flat-out rhythm. Look at this battle duking now, though, and now then we will see what Corvette have got here.
Yeah, Nicky Team having to go defensive on the run up to Indianapolis. He's going to stay driver's right, really defensive now. Look out for Garcia taking the wide driver's left line. He can go around the outside, and he does. That gives him the inside line into the tight left of Indianapolis. He'll probably have to half defend into Arnage.
Spat out on the other side, hits the rumble strips. Indeed, the brakes down there by Nicky Tim, and it lets the Ford back in as well. What a magnificent three-up battle we've got right now with Harry Ticknell. Not out of this one at all.
Yeah, and actually Tincknell's just sat there, isn't he? He's looking, he's waiting, ready to pounce. Tincknell in the very slippery Ford GT that is ever so slightly strangled, though, on power, courtesy of the balance of performance regulations that is in place in this category to try to create a playing field where such different and varied GT cars with very different architecture between them can compete on relatively even terms.
Yeah, we saw Paul Howarth of Aston Martin there looking a bit concerned by that, but no concern in the Corvette pits, because Antonio Garcia is leading Le Mans on Corvette's 20th appearance here in modern times. Garcia himself has won this race twice, 2000 and 2011. 2 of 7 wins Corvette have had here, and they'd love to go out on a high.
And this that we're looking at is one of the stories of the race. It's the privateer teams running in the LMP1 category, non-hybrids, remember. We've got the highly fluorescent multicolored art cars of Rebellion Racing, currently the bread surrounding the SMP Racing sandwich of Petrov and Sarrazin between them.
I love this when we come up and over the top by Dunhill. This swoop down for me is one of my favourite parts of the track. I don't forget Tom Christensen shutting me right up by welling it down this part. It was a privilege to be driven by him in this circuit. And you don't realise just how much compression you get when you come off and indeed come into the dips here. It's not just about lateral movement. You really feel yourself being pushed into back deep down into the seat. It's a physical exercise, this, Sam.
Yeah, it really is. It's actually not too bad at the beginning of the race. This is not a particularly physical circuit, courtesy of the long straights that give the drivers plenty of time to rest. But as the stints accumulate and the tiredness sets in over the course of 24 hours, the last few stints that the drivers will do, they're the ones when mistakes can start to happen.
We're looking at a replay of the start for the GTs. We saw the prototypes earlier. Now this is where Nicky Tim in the Dane Train car was leading the pack from Harry Tincknell. Harry Tincknell with the should be slipperier car, but look at these Corvettes. These bonnets are always coming up, as Carlton told us so many times in qualifying. It will change though, and eventually it's the Corvette that is going to come up and pounce on the whole pack in their 20th start here.
Well, it's been a great move through here by Harry Tincknell. He bode his time very, very well indeed, and the vets don't like it one little bit. Let's have a look. Well, they say if it ain't rubbing, it ain't racing. We're getting very close to an awful lot of rubbing with an awful lot of racing going on.
Yeah, thanks very much to Alex Blakeney for reminding us on Twitter that the 3:17 recorded by Conway earlier on is a new course record for the race.
Meanwhile, quick look up the inside. That was the pass that was made, by the way, the exchange, but Harry Tincknell wants to fight back. Beautiful view here from the 93, side by side, coming into these curves. There's no room for them all to remain side by side. They get away with it.
Really nicely done. And now we've got Estra in 4th position, leading Tandy's Porsche. All change in the GT class. That's the Ferrari. I can't quite see which one. Is that Bruni? Right up the back.
David Ebrigon, yeah. In the AF course car. I think Nicky Tim is fading. I think he's maybe had the best of his tires, because he is now being monstered by Harry Tincknell, and that gap is now 0.4 of a second as they came past last time. Has Nicky pushed too hard too soon?
It's possible. It's possible. If, you know, when you're out in front, you've got a lot of work to do to keep the pace up, because you don't benefit from the slipstream of the other cars, especially on a circuit like this with so many very long straights. So he will really have had to hang the car out using everything that it can give him, which is possible. You can push the tyres a little bit over pressure, and if he just eases back now, reduces the slip on the tyres, he'll be able to rescue them and get them back.
Just look at the way the Corvettes are picking up on the speed that they carry, and the braking is absolutely brilliant. How smooth was that?
Well, it always looks easier from further away, doesn't it? But that is a mightily fast corner as he just slid up the inside into the Porsche curves.
That was Ollie Gavin on Dirk Muller.
Ollie Gavin.
It was, and a pass as well by Gustavo Menezes in that art car, just spearing through, making it indeed into traffic already. So starting to pick up some of the GT Am cars. That's Racing Clearwater's 61 car with Luis Perez Companc, who I'm afraid is now conked out, at least at the back end of the field for the time being. First man to be tagged, Mark.
Yeah, we're just looking there at this great battle, SMP against Rebellion. It's Vitaly Petrov, it's Gustavo Menez, and these SMPs running 215 miles an hour on Thursday night, 336 kilometers an hour. Fastest cars there in terms of top-line speed. But as Sam's already explained, the Toyotas are all low down grunt. They run out of that grunt halfway down the lap, but they make it all up through the corners.
It's true, and if you're wondering how a car with frankly considerably slower top speed in the Toyota can be so dominant at the head of the field, it's because the sheer power that they have out of the corners, courtesy of their hybrid systems, give them such punch, such momentum onto the track, onto the straights, combined with four-wheel drive that gives them phenomenal traction. It doesn't only help their speed onto these straights, or as we just watched a Rebellion get it wrong under braking. He had to cut the corner up at Dunlop chicane, and that is Gustavo Menezes. Now that puts him under pressure from the SMP car of Vitaly Petrov behind as they swoop down into the S's and head out towards Tadgerouge. Menezes getting very high up on the exit curb. You've got to be so careful. That can pull the car wider onto the grass where there's about a metre of width before you hit the wall.
Yeah.
Well, if you're going to make the change, then do so now before it starts raining. MP20, Marshall Point 20, we've got drops of rain here, and he's got a tow coming down this straight here. Petrov has a look, tries to make the move, he's got traffic. Oh, perfect work there, I have to say, by Gustavo Menezes. Is in the slightly yellower car here. Meanwhile, further back, the sister car of SMP just caught out of position at the moment, but what a start we've had. And you can see grip levels here just starting to alter.
Yeah, that was Bruno Senna getting a huge slide on as he put the power down on the exit of the chicane there, and perhaps that is courtesy of the light rain that has been reported on Mulsanne. We're not yet at Mulsanne corner. We're charging down the Mulsanne straight towards it into the second chicane. Light rain reported.
Yes, just another factor to put into the equation here, and we were expecting completely mixed conditions. We were flattered by dry conditions yesterday for the drivers' parade, and indeed the day prior as well. But it looks like leaden skies here, and the lead feet are burying the pedal at the moment. We've got fantastic pace for the whole field, but none better for the time being than Conway in the 7 car. He's out front, but look at these battles here. Further down the order, I'm flashing the lights as if to Harry and Hector and saying, I'm coming through, I'm the quickest man, get out of my way, and he's going to prove it, Petrov, I think, down this straight.
Petrov, again, going to do the move that we've seen already in the GT class from Garcia just a minute ago. He's going to go around the outside. No, he's not. Menezes, braver into the sweeping right, very fast 6th-gear corner before they haul on the anchors down to 3rd for the left, and now down to 1st for the very slippery Arnage corner as the aerodynamic downforce bleeds away.
Well, if you're going to be brave and you want to be in the fight, then sometimes you have to go all in, and that's exactly what Menezes did. Very late on the brakes there. Petrov thought he had enough time to get by, did not before the corner arrived, and out of position when Menezes just slammed it shut. Here we go. This is magnificent. We're sticking with this battle just for the time being, as Toyota are on a runaway for the time being. The 7 car distancing the 8 by 9 seconds, and the same margin back to the non-hybrids within the P1 field. But that is where this battle is rocking right now, and it's absolutely magnificent. Likewise, update on the GT Pro. It is Garcia that leads that ahead of Nicky Tim, who's back in the frame. Ticknell dropped down to 3rd place ahead of a brace of Porsches with Estre and Nicky Tandy as well, with 23 and 36 minutes, 23 hours and 36. This is a long race, but it's a sprint and has been since the start.
Yeah, let's build on that, Carlton. Let's look at GT-AM. It's Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4 at the moment. 2 Dempsey cars, Gulf Racing and Proton. Best of the rest is the JMW Ferrari of Jess Seagull on board. But our race leader there is Matthias Caroli from Australian Matt Campbell and Dempsey Proton, who won this race last year, only to lose all their points from it later in the season. Look like they are kings of AM at this moment, Sam.
They're pulling out all the stops, aren't they, Sam?
They really are, and the guys in the Porsche garage just congratulating their drivers. They keep an eye on the TV screens in the background. That fight rages on as we've got Gustavo Menezes still having to go very defensive to keep Vitaly Petrov's SMP car behind him.
Well, the familiar star shape to the lights here, it's where the camera retinas open and the elements start to reveal themselves to you. These cameras are your eyes, and a circulating trio of helicopters, you can see it up in the sky here, go around this track permanently, and they provide some magnificent pictures. The onboards as well are magnificent, in-car, exterior, front and rear, and indeed all classes, followed by the birds in the sky. It's a noisy old place to be, but there's nowhere else you'd rather be if indeed motorsport is your thing, and it very much is for all of us. We are passionate about this, and it's the 87th edition of the Great Race, and still traffic making a nuisance, and still petrol trying to find a way through here. It's like a stepping stone race here, and if you get it wrong, I'm afraid you're going to fall in.
It's like the M25 at rush hour, except at 200 miles an hour. This is the beauty of multi-class endurance racing. We've got battles raging in each individual category, despite the fact that they're all tripping over one another as the faster prototype cars are already lapping the GTs.
Magnificent. Dominik Lesniewski says, does anyone else shed a tear with us when Le Mans starts? I love this race too much. Well, frankly, we get choked up at the beginning, at the end, and often in the middle as well. It kind of gets under your skin. It's just one of those things.
It really is. And this battle between Gustavo Menezes' Rebellion Racing 3 car and that of Vitaly Petrov in the SMP is raging on as though it were a 10-lap Formula Ford race. These guys are going absolutely flat out as the traffic backs them up into each other. Or is that the sister car, I think, of Sarrazin, under pressure now from Senna's Rebellion, now riding on board with a 64 Corvette.
Oh, I do worry about that bonnet, you know, but it's all part of the design flex, essentially. But yeah, it always looks like it's about to come loose. It's tethered, as you can see, with the black strapping here. But they have been the mightiest of starters, I must say. The Corvettes, they've kept us entertained, and indeed they lead the Pro Class, Mark.
Yeah, that's all. Well, I'm just saying about the Corvette. Yeah, the Corvette there that we're looking at, Ollie Gavins, he's all over the back of Davide Rigon, having disposed of that Ford of Dirk Muller a few minutes ago. Ahead of him is Antonio Da Costa in the BMW. We've hardly seen anything in the BMW in this race, but it is running in 6th place at the back of the chain. There he is.
And into the pit lane come the SMP and the Rebellion. Oh, the SMP car of Sarrazin running very wide out of the first slow-down chicane. The pit entrance, the two cars absolutely bumper to bumper as they come in for
Bruno Senna. Early stop. Yeah.
Early stop.
I thought some may well be running light, get themselves out of sequence, buy some track space, and then boot it. We'll see whether that is the case. This is Sarrazin on his marks. No panic. I think this is routine. This is how they planned it.
Does seem like an early stop. We were expecting 10 laps from the LMP1 privateers, the Toyotas, with a hybrid power and the provisions afforded to them from the equivalence of technology regulations, setting Toyota up for 11 lap stints between stops. Senna staying on board the Rebellion car.
And just to remind you, this is the last race. We'll see refueling and work at the same time. It goes back to separate things. I'm not often in agreement with Carlton, but he did say earlier in the race, will some of the teams stop early to get out of sequence, gain advantage?
Well, they're all in, and I think it would just have bike-collars in. We've got the first of the LMP2s coming in as well. They're all coming in a flurry. This is it. This is the start of the sequence that will remain in place throughout the rest of the race. All of the LMP2 cars flying into the pits ahead of us, pushing very hard after just 8 laps.
Yeah, indeed. So maybe they all have the same idea. Maybe they have more information about the rain than we do. Light rain reported at Mulsanne, and it could well be that this is a tactical decision.
Right, David Rigon's got ahead of the BMW of Antonio Da Costa, and that has pushed him back into Ollie Gavin's street. Ollie Gavin tries to go through the inside. He's alongside as they go round, but can't quite hold it, Sam.
Ben Handley is got a touch handful here. Contact.
Yeah, there is. That's they're trying to take advantage of the distraction from Ben Handley's Dragon Speed car sliding through into the second chicane there.
And that cost Oliver, because Dirk Muller's gone through again in the that's not the Ganassi car, it's the other one, isn't it? So all change again.
Indeed, big look up the inside.
The
Contact into BMW, being bullied by faster vehicles right now, and they're all coming through. You know, they've kicked the door in here and they've invited themselves to the party. And here we go, 91 car on board. Great view for you, Sam.
Yeah, he's looking to pick up the toe. He's not got quite enough of an advantage on power to make the most of the slipstream, but there's a long way to go on the run up to Indianapolis. Two cars side by side.
Well, it may well be three in a moment, but BMW just didn't have the drag, thought about it, had a look-see, and there was no space, and indeed no drive, I'm afraid. The faster cars in front, and he acts as yet another mobile chicane for others around him. Corvette just on a scream away here. The 68 Ford looking very, very lively as well.
And in comes the number 8 Toyota of Sebastian Buemi just in front of our window, followed immediately by the other Rebellion and the other SMP car of Petrol. So that's all the lead.